that Vi first pick, super dangerous for TES and something we've been seeing throughout the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, what is plastered across the sky right now in this series is this series will be dictated by the jungle and who takes control, who wrestles control from others. And I think Vi is an incredible starting point to give that control to the player himself in Kanavi. Now, instantly returned to are the Ksante and Rakan answers by anyone's legend on red side. Still some OPs available.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that TES, because they were, they had side select, they went for the blue side draft, they can go ahead and ban the Nocturne and Nico. The Nico, preferably for Kael, who we've seen already in this tournament pick it up a little bit. But Nocturne, a really good jungler here for Tarzan, really plays in his style of being able to farm up, get some resources into yourself, and then impact the map in a really big way. We talked about coming into this series whether or not Rakan priority was going to be super high, especially for these two supports. And already, I think, for TES, they've secured some really strong 2v2s in mid-jungle. And then I think with Varus, just a strong, very blindable AD carry.
Yeah, I think giving him those kind of fighting tools, but also a little bit of the utility with the Chains of Corruption goes a long way with a guy with a mind like JackeyLove. Now going into the second phase, after we got the Wukong pick as the answer into the Vi, which we actually have seen a decent amount of here in this tournament, the focuses change up a little bit for both sides.
Okay, so back end of these drafts for anyone's legends is going to be a focus towards preparing Flandre for a pretty good matchup. I like that we're taking the Poppy away. My eyes kind of start to go towards, are we going to also start to maybe get rid of a Mordekaiser or the Renekton for the Ksante matchup?
Rid of the Mordekaiser?
Look, all I'm saying is if you're gonna force it onto him, you gotta take one of them. You're either gonna be playing against Renekton or you're gonna be playing against Mordekaiser in more instances rather than not. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. And for anyone's legends, what mid lane pick are we going to be able to see here? Because, I mean, really for Shanks, there's still Corki. I think, obviously, with Orianna banned, there's a couple of options still available. But it's really been his mage play that we've been impressed with.
Yeah, I want to see what kind of answers he's still going to have available to him after getting, the Orianna now banned. See if any other control mages are on the docket here. It is going to be a crisp classic in the Renata ban as the final ban for anyone's legend in this game number 1.
I guess I didn't immediately recognize the flex potential of the Poppy, so really great job from anyone's legends, I think, to kind of cover their bases from the bottom lane perspective. And we get into the back half here, as the final ban for TS is going to have to come in through soon. I'm looking at the mages that Shanks has played. It's been Sylas, the Orianna that's already banned, Akali, Viktor, Aurora is taken away on the opposite side, so no Akali at least in this game, maybe prepping for something for Creme to play around with later in the series.
Glorious Evolution, anybody? I think the Syndra is a great shout-out as well, though, for Shanks. He's an incredible Syndra, but we do get the Viktor also getting it out of the way for the rest of the games in the series.
Ooh, so we're in a situation now where we've given over counterpick to Hope and Kael, so whatever they kind of go for, you have to be able to deal with the range of Varus, or say that you can also be a tank buster. I don't know if this is necessarily going to be that Jinx game, and any mobile AD carry you go for as anyone's legends, you're just going to get a Vi and potentially a Rell on top of you. I think this is such a dangerous combo.
Top Esports, though, they're about to have the team fight from hell right now with the Ornn and the Rell lock-in. If the Rell does end up getting locked in, they can easily CC the entirety of the team in a lot of regards, but be able to find that single target that they need to, with Kanavi leading the charge in that regard. So the Corki is the lock-in right now on the other side. A lot of AP damage coming through, but that'll be a bot lane Corki.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Ledden. I kind of, this AL draft, while it is very strong, I think as the fight goes on, you can get a ton of value. I'm worried about the damage. I think that there's not enough necessarily. I mean, Viktor can lay down the deeps, but you really want to try to get that execute. You want to make sure that you can try to get the spreading ultimate for this Viktor. And Wukong, after that first couple hits, I don't think it can kind of pump on through. So for TES, as long as they can make sure that their front line is dealing enough damage, especially for someone like Kanavi here with this Vi, if he's in a great spot, I think TES can kind of run away with this game.
I'm really excited. It is the 2024 Demacia Cup Grand Finals. Typically, the winner of this tournament does go on to have a pretty good next year, and it is a wonderful preview going into the next year of the teams that we're going to have available to us. These two teams honestly world's contenders right out the gate, it feels like, but hoping to prove a little bit of that and grow some of those synergies going into this series itself. It's a full fearless best of 5. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have Kanavi versus Tarzan, 2 of the mainstays in the LPL, but also 2 guys who just have the hands to make it happen. I really want to see that kind of mental warfare going on between these 2 guys early into this series.
They have been playing so well this tournament. For Kanavi, I think he has been one of the smartest junglers to play around vision and making sure that he can kind of take every little bit of camp like his camps individually before an objective. I think the most famous one was his Vi last night, which was he's doing red buff during a dragon fight. We're getting a cinematic camera for Tarzan. I mean, he has just been trying to play for all of his lanes. I think more specifically now with a pretty good draft for him. I think there's a couple of options for Tarzan as to what he can try to do. He has lanes that he can play for, especially with a Ksante. A lot of options for anyone's Legends.
The story of Tarzan is so interesting as well. Obviously, the big Griffin prospect, but when he came over and had a lot of the biggest moments on LNG and kind of the miracle runs and the runs to internationals, it never felt quite his fault, but a lot of the blame got put onto him. And I think seeing, after he wasn't even playing last spring, by the way, bringing that Weibo team, resurging the energy within it and getting them to Worlds and then now coming over to anyone's Legend, this guy has turned into a bit of a mercenary, but he's a mercenary that knows how to get the goods.
Yeah, you know, I will say, in defense to the Tarzan haters, 2023 Worlds, he was doing things, okay? I can't defend him. Everywhere else, I will agree, Tarzan and every other jungler, for the most part, get a lot of flack for things that are usually not their fault. So I can get behind that kind of messaging, but we're getting some kind of difference in the lane swaps already, so obviously wanting to avoid the Varus matchup, but 369 immediately clearing through mid lane to try to get down to this lane. It's going to be a lot of gold going over to what Hope and Flandre can try to get done, but
that's a nice little combo in the mid lane as well. Chris was trying to get a little bit of poke onto Shanks, but we must adapt our eyes and our view sight to this mid lane because that's where both teams want to put a lot of presence into, and I think rightfully so. Shanks and Creme kind of finding their own names in this Demacia Cup in a lot of ways. I know Shanks having his big bright moments in a lot of the AL victories, the trudge to get to finals, and Creme just in their last series didn't have as much of a banger game number 1, but game number 2 actually cleaned up very heavily. So I like to see a little bit more presence given to these 2 guys.
Creme got robbed of an MVP vote on the Call game, so I will defend this guy. I'm not even a mid laner, and I'm already having to put on defense for this team. AL in this lane swap now. So what's typically we're expecting to see is Flandre going to TP to try to catch this wave. We already see that Kael is in position for this, but the junglers are just in a better position, I think, from TES. Kanavi already clearing most of this bot side. We're going for a dive and a level 2 Ksante.
Kael is here, has a big grand entrance, 2 people knocked up, now Chris going low. JackeyLove takes a turret shot. Flandre is still kicking it. Tarzan right here to deliver the hurt. First blood goes to the new age king of the jungle, Tarzan, and they're looking for even more. JackeyLove gets his ankles broken by that man on your screen, and go ahead and give him a triple kill. As he's looking for 369, he might actually have the angle. Kael also looking for the angle. This could be absolute disaster for Top Esports to start off this game number 1.
Okay, Invictus Gaming send their regards. They're like, okay, you had a level 1 in our first game. Well, anyone's Legends are going to bring you that heat and smack them down. 4 kills here for Tarzan early on. They did not execute at all on that bot dive, but goddamn, Lennon, that is a huge opener for anyone's Legends at the grand finals.
I love it because you were talking about Wukong. Well, the man's got 4 kills. looking pretty good as we look back at that replay.
All right, all of the damage profile stuff that I was talking about earlier, I guess it just goes out the window if Wukong gets to start with an item here. Really great job from Flandre. He got level 3 in the middle of that dive, so he's able to block out on Crisp, and then just the rest of the damage isn't there. We already saw a lot of the summoner spells spent by TES, and I just... There's not much to say. Flandre and Kael played that really well. Tarzan comes in over top. He gets all the kills. I mean, it doesn't get much easier for a jungler.
That's a great way to start. Kanavi's like, man, I That happened to me. Why can't why does it gotta happen to you too? A little bit of Christmas coming late, I guess, for Tarzan here, but now we gotta think about what that does for the map. Tarzan's gonna have a lot more say in the control of the map that we were talking about. These two junglers will be fighting over.
It means also that as soon as Tarzan hits level 6, that he can kind of cheat for a bottom lane wave and try to look for maybe an early gank before the summoner spells are back up from TES. And for AL, part of that strength, once he has finished his recall, so already half of the way through, or 2/3 of the way through, for a Trinity Force for this Wukong, he can very easily come through the bottom lane, try to leverage some of his combat power, and I'll be looking for how Kanavi is able to avoid Tarzan right now, because that 1v1 is extremely losing. You have a longsword versus a Phage, the Hearthbound Axe. You're just never winning this position right now, as it seems like he was feigning to go towards the dragon, but recognizes that Tarzan should be on the back, should be on his way down here, and this is not an objective we can contest.
And this is also a situation where they can take the dragon and maybe even go contest for the grubs if they want to try to go for a double combo there. But that would be the answer right now from Top Esports. You already see pings going up towards that grub pit, and it is not the dragon started early by anyone's legend, so maybe Tarzan wanting to go contest that one too.
You see the pinks come out. They want to try to go for it. Oh, no flash on him.
They know that he doesn't have flash. Hope going with the stunt on him there with the flash himself. One more auto. Hope taking the turret. Hope gets the shield. And Hope gets the play.
It's all of the summoners now from this AL bot lane, but JackeyLove is out of this game for the time being. 0, 2, and 0 as this Varus. You saw the pings come out while we were talking about that play. TES wanted to start up the grubs, get their bot lane on a recall. Chris had already went back to base, and it just means on that timer, they know, look, JackeyLove doesn't have flash. We're going to punish this, find our kill, set up for our own dragon take. And I like this coming out from Flandre, since they don't know where Tarzan is. Feigns down into the bot lane, or into the pit after crashing a huge wave, gets good pressure, and stops the rest of these grubs being taken. At the very least, AL can grab themselves a dragon and a single grub.
Hey, I already said it going into the game. If bot lane is winning, that is a dub for anyone's legend. I see a 1-0 to 0-2 ADC score right now. So it's working out for anyone's legend. They're just going to have a lot of wiggle room on how they want to proceed in this kind of mid-game that we'll be cresting into. It does look like Kanavi is trying to circle right back and finish up that grub spawn so that we can get another one going. But from now, it just looked like Tarzan was taking it easy and farming up as much as possible with his early lead.
Yeah, right now for Tarzan, instead of necessarily going for those grubs, I think picking up a couple more of these camps. If he's able to finish his top side, I'm going to hold that Kael.
Crisp. He's getting low. He uses the crash down and the flash. JackeyLove, he's about to get flash back up, but it's not up just yet. JackeyLove's getting low. He got one more arrow, but it was not enough. That quiver is empty, and anyone's legend is full of black powder. Double kill for Hope.
There's just no way to go in this fight. You're already losing the 2v2. You're desynced on your waves as well as the experience between the two of them. It's just looking pretty good for anyone's legends. The AL fans that were in the chat before we started the stream were getting called all kinds of names from the other Twitch chatters, but it seems like they're the true believers making it on through here as they just win this 2v2 in great fashion. Again, they have the summoner spell advantage. They know that they're desynced. I don't know what else to say other than the fact that Hope and Kael, we had question marks as to whether this bot lane was going to be able to perform, and TES are struggling after that early game.
Yeah, I mean, the 2v2 is not looking good between JackeyLove and Crisp in that case, and it's a lot of fights that maybe feel like they don't need to be taking, but they are indeed, and that's going to be the nature of the beast there. 7-0 lead in only 8.5 minutes for anyone's legend. Tarzan now going to be hitting the gas here and moving in to try to find people, try to find a lot of invades into Kanavi's jungle, and was looking at trying to take Creme in mid lane.
If they can try to open up Creme, I think that'd be great, but Shanks has been doing a fantastic job so far, mostly because the map is so destabilized, with bot lane constantly getting ran down, with Kanavi not really finding too much answers in mid. I'll say that now.
Oh, they find Shanks. This was kind of that single target lockdown we were talking about so much in the draft, and Shanks will bite the dust there. Kanavi will finally get Top Esports on the board.
My fault, Shanks. That's my fault. I didn't want you to...
You did that to him. That was all you.
Whatever, I'll take it. So, for Shanks there, losing Flash is such a big part of the game. I mean, you are playing Viktor. You're having to play up against an Ornn, a Vi. It's going to be something that we'll have to take a look at and track as we go forward. Tarzan, though, I don't really know if we want to go for this fight. Yes, we have a large advantage, but we also haven't spent our gold in a pretty long time.
He's got to have an item, right?
Yeah,
like,
if he's not close to finishing Trinity, then maybe he's a little bit closer to getting full boots upgrade, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, we just don't have a real fight to play for at least 2 minutes now, so wouldn't be surprised if for at least anyone's Legends, they're looking to kind of take it slow. Maybe we look for a dive here on bottom lane, or onto the top wave, as Creme is by himself.
I'm trying to, figure out, decipher a little bit how Tarzan really makes this lead felt. Because obviously his Cyclones in fights are going to be big. Kanavi getting caught out is going to be big as well. Because guess who's coming around the corner? Tarzan sprinting his way to find Kanavi. It gives him the little stick there and finds the kill. As now they're actually looking at a potential bush play here. They do get the Shattering Strike
Tarzan,
in now as well. The chains. Tarzan, he's going right back in though, as he had that Cyclone reactivation. And now Flandre doing Ksante things. He's not going to find the kills, but they do find the invade on the chicken.
I was surprised that Flandre still had all out during that entire play. So, despite Kanavi dying there, this actually becomes a pretty heads-up play now for TES. They get the TP out from Flandre, so they're not going to at least contest for this next dragon coming up in a minute. You also have Grubs in a minute and a half. You're now going to be missing some key ultimates coming into this fight. I think at TES, this is the one part of the game that despite this early game, you really need this to go well if you want to find any success in this game.
Things are getting so dicey and so far out in front of Top Esports. Though, I will say, even though Top Esports haven't really dealt with this just yet, they are a team that I expect to be very scrappy. And Creme, not going to be scrappy enough to get away from Flandre. Okay, maybe he is. Looking for the twofold hex, but didn't find the damage there. You have Tarzan, who is on his way up here. Will be spotted on vision. Does it really matter, though, when you already have Trinity Force at 11 minutes in? I don't think so.
You are literally just going to win every single 1v1. It does not matter. And Tarzan just instead optimizing for the camps on top side. They're going to split this map. There's a dive being prepped on the bottom lane, however. Hope and Kael do have their flash. Looks like we're investing a teleport. So if this bot lane 2v2 can at least get out, or at the very least get a kill, you're looking at a pretty huge advantage coming in for them.
Oh, AL, they played a little bit too far off turret. They're going to get the TP play coming in. There's the cease and desist, as well as Chris going in for the big combo now. Chris taking low because of the turret shots, and this was not the outcome that Top Esports wanted to have on that one. It's a split fight, and Shanks trying to chase down Creme. Tarzan has made the run. He's on a 50K right now and has found Creme on the bot side. They just left each other in top side, and he'll take a crushing blow to the face.
Huge win for AL, and again, Kael plays that magnificently. Last time, it was Flandre on the bot lane dive with Kael. This time, Kael tanks up all of the CC. Hope gets out of the way so he can deal damage, and there's just not enough setup there coming in from TES. They're going to try to turn on 369?
He's got the break of the armor there with the Cyclone. He's getting low. 820 smackaroos right there at 369. He rolled a 9 on that one.
That actually slows down the game. They may have been able to say, look, Tarzan, you can go and use your jungle privilege to heal up all of your HP. So they don't even get to start the dragon on this, although it seems like AL are not going to be willing to give this up for free, as we're seeing a bit of a dance in the river.
A little bit of damage on the crisp there, too. Flandre a bit overextended now. JackeyLove looking for it, but doesn't find the chains of corruption. Kanavi goes right back to work, right back onto the grubs, trying to make sure they can get the might spawn for top.
So they're going to get at least 3 grubs here. Flandre gets canceled again. Tarzan's nowhere in the area. And TES, by keeping AL interested in that bottom lane, and for 369 to pick up that kill onto Tarzan, it does slow down this game just a little bit. They are still down 5,000 gold versus anyone's Legends, and you have to be thinking, Corki's going to be hitting 2 items really soon. You're going to be having a level 11 Viktor, and this already fed Wukong, I think, is a very dangerous spot. But as for TES, they've gotten themselves 5 grubs. If we can get a little bit of these plates before they fall, I think that's as good as it's going to get for them.
Kanavi sees Tarzan, immediately turns around. Even has Chris right there. Like, nah, I'm not dealing with that.
So let's take a look at this replay. This is the dive that happened that went so well for AL. I mean, all this damage.
Creme, though.
Yeah, still great ultimate coming in from Kael to just give them all of the charm. They can't move. They can't interact. 369 is literally just standing here. He presses ult, and that's about it because of how far they went for that play. We get to kind of see them go for the extended play. During all of this, Flandre is hitting top lane. We do have JackeyLove farming up in mid lane. They eventually do get punished here by after the TP for overextending, but still, I think that the goal that they were able to generate during this play, specifically to get them to 2 items, is going to be a huge boon for them.
Yeah, and Tarzan is literally just building bridges right now to get Shanks to a point to where Shanks is unstoppable, and Shanks is doing the glorious evolution all over top esports. Now we're going to get that big quickness pop with the grand entrance, and Crisp is just losing his health faster than he can hang. Got 369 popping the ulti, but for nothing.
The kill onto Crisp, the flash off of Kanavi. AL are looking to take an incredibly dominant game 1. Now, I will be honest here, Lennon. I have been a very soft AL doubter. Everybody keeps telling me this team's going to do well.
Here, man.
I wanted to believe that, this team could do amazing with Flandre and Tarzan, but I think with the competition that they've had on the way up to this part of the bracket, I was not, super impressed. I think that the series versus Weibo, they took in pretty convincing fashion, barring the first game. But so far, if they're willing to scrap like this, and we can see this consistently throughout the next season, I'm starting to get on that hype train that you sold me on earlier. AL to playoffs. AL's potentially to Worlds.
Hey, they're my sleeper Worlds team right now. They definitely wanted to up the ante with their roster and bringing in Flandre and Tarzan, big names to try to buff it up and make it in this change up of a year in 2025. Now, Rift Herald did get started up by Top Esports, but they realized they are not in the position to control this map at all, honestly, at this point, and it will just fall prey to anyone's legend.
So anyone's legends, they have at least 1 grub, so minimal amount of extra
really
damage.
prey if it stays in the same spot all the time and is predictable? I guess it is prey.
Yeah, I would say it's just like hanging out, like it's
the hunting grounds,
Yeah, it stays in its cubby. I love that for all of these objectives, they don't bother you if you don't bother them. That should just be like how every animal is treated, right? Like you hang out on that side. You don't, like, as a huge bear or like a massive deer or elk, you don't just like jump through my window and we're cool.
I'd say that's pretty good rules to have. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist in the animal kingdom. It would be nice. We should try to get a petition. See how many bears we can get to sign that petition just for you.
We should get an official English broadcast, but I'll take the petition second.
That hits too close to the heart, man.
That's why we're here, right? They were the unofficial broadcast. We're here to make sure that the broadcast
petitioning for
yes.
Make sure you don't break through people's windows with the LPL, I guess.
For sure.
Honestly,
for sure.
though, for the promotion, I'll take it. Speaking of, though, we still have Top Esports finding ways to try to stay in the game. And again, kind of a point we were making earlier, like I expect if there is a team that I think is going to stay in like a 6K deficit game, it is going to be a Top Esports team that have found a lot of big pieces to add to this kind of pillar style that they've been building around in 369, Creme, and JackeyLove.
And what I want to see for TES coming into this season is some of the resiliency. Most of the problems that I think came from this year is they were a very strong team. They were one of the contenders to potentially even go, top 3, top 2 in the region. But every time they would take a loss or maybe take a second loss, they're just out of a series. They always look like they were performing at a little bit of a lower level. Once they have taken a loss, they were a glass jaw team, I think was what the community had come up with for their terminology. I want to see what this team looks like if they're kind of able to bite back after a few, not so great games, especially now that they've brought in players like Crisp and Kanavi.
Get a charge in mid lane. Kanavi getting caught out here and just bursted down. Just goes for the cease and desist, but there's a big laser beam heading his way. And now Top Esports trying to put up a defense here. There is no minion wave for anyone's legend, but they're going to be pinging side lane and try to go get a side lane turret.
Yeah, let's go ahead, collapse on these side lanes, get those pushing, and then look to try to prepare for this dragon in 2 minutes. You're thinking about the huge spikes that are coming up. Tarzan's already finished second item. We're going to have Muramana here soon for Hope. Let's take a look at this replay. I mean, it's pretty easy, as have most of the replays been for this first game here.
That's bold, Kanavi.
Kanavi just walks up, doesn't have the flash from earlier after that top lane play. In the middle of his cease and desist, gets Viktor lasered, which is pretty funny looking, but yeah, I mean, this game just gets easier and easier for anyone's legends to play, as for TES, the damage is not quite there thanks to taking JackeyLove out from underneath him early on in the game, and Kanavi has unfortunately fell prey to having to be a driver for this team in a game where there's not much action.
10-29 Infinity. Wow. Trinity Force, and the fact that they actually just showed like his combo he used the last fight was actually pretty funny. But that goes to show a little bit of that controlling style that both these junglers represent in a lot of ways, and that's why in a lot of cases when they do get ahead, it is a very steamrolly game because both these guys love to just completely mastermind the jungle.
Tough game here for TES, especially with, like you were saying, how controlling this game can feel with, I mean, you're playing against Ksante when you're behind on damage, you're playing against Viktor when he's behind on damage, not even talking about Tarzan in this instance. Now we're going to have Baron spawning in 20 seconds. I could think maybe if TES are really feeling this game is a little bit hopeless, you just try to start the Baron, try to call over a YOLO and see what members of AL kind of bite, as collapsing onto this bottom side, there is just no room for TES to play in their own jungle, take all of their jungle camps, and anyone's Legends are looking to move on in and get themselves a third Drake.
Oh, man. Tarzan sees Kanavi go away and immediately goes in with his Cyclone. He got the TP from Flandre. Now, though, some tools are down from anyone's Legend. Maybe, just maybe, there's a chance out.
If there's ever a window for them to do something, it has to be now. There's no Wukong, no Rakan ultimate. We still have all of ours. We can even TP into certain flank angles. Maybe they don't even want to go for it, because if they lose this fight, they're going to lose Baron as well, and they're walking into a 4th dragon down a lot of gold. So it looks like they would just want to try to get themselves experience. Big break points for me are going to be 369 getting those Ornn ultimates. I think that the only one he's going to get is at level 14, so the one that he gives has to be really high impact if this wants any kind of sway in the game.
Another problem is your damage center in Creme and JackeyLove are just having very quiet games. And with a composition that you need to get a single target, burst it down, and move onwards, it's very, very difficult to navigate in that case. So seeing AL know that and kind of play around that, now hitting their 2-item spikes on pretty much everybody and forcing the tempo, it's been really nice, because this is a team, again, that has been battling through this Demacia Cup, and making it to finals was no short feat.
It's our group stage team playing up against a bracket stage team. TES got a free invite to top 8. AL had to play in their own group. They had to make it out. They went 3-0 up against one of the wonderful Old Man Cup teams as well. So
wonderful,
yeah. Look. I'm glad that we got to see all the Old Man Cup teams. They played some games of League of Legends.
We got to pull them out of their retirement at home and and walk them around a little bit, get them fresh air. Kael is about to get some non-so-fresh air, although the quickness grand entrance escape combo. My goodness.
Okay, Aurora from like 2 patches ago would not have let that slide. All right, just saying, the stun would have gone through. Kael would have taken a little bit more damage. All in all, it's 2 ults in trade for 1. They get the heal out from Kael. It's going to turn into at least a little bit of time here for TS. Now they know, okay, look, there's no Rakan ultimate coming over to try to knock us up. So, I mean, look at this. Kanavi's on the bottom side of the map. Crisp is taking a recall. There's going to be a free Baron here for anyone's Legends.
Literally nothing they can do about it. Maybe, just maybe, JackeyLove. No. He decides no, not today. He's not going to find the arrow. He watched Gumayushi too many times. He just says he doesn't want to do it.
He's not even in the right hemisphere at this point to try to land that one. So maybe next time. Maybe next time for another Baron. Maybe in another game, because this one's looking a bit shocked. This one's been shocked. We thought, okay, look, Jungle getting 4 kills at the start of the game. We've seen it already here in Demacia Cup, but maybe there was a way that we could see TES kind of bite back. That's just not been the case.
It has not been. And been a really efficient game by anyone's Legend, which, again, for this roster is awesome to see. The fact that it was Hope and Kael out of all the people on this team that were finding big advantages in their lane matchup, that speaks volumes to what that kind of camaraderie has been built up over this last year.
And for JackeyLove and Crisp, they haven't had the best tournament so far. So for some of the fans that maybe haven't been watching the whole tournament or have only been able to catch bits and pieces, JackeyLove and them have not really kind of hammered away at that 2v2 like we expected from, just looking at resumes, looking at names here on the screen. So hopefully for TS, this will be a kind of a building project. When you look at this squad, obviously bringing in Kanavi and Crisp, they really want to try to bring home a championship. It's been a while since they've been able to lift the cup, so I think with this one, they're looking to try to make a very deep splash in LPL and obviously in internationals.
That's 3 items and boots just completed for Hope. Corki is officially in the house. And there's about 1:35 seconds for this dragon to spawn. It would be the soul for anyone's Legend. You know they're going to try to continue to push this tempo. Now looking at yet another side lane turret. This
is dangerous for TES. Like, they have to try to get enough damage. It's good chip onto Tarzan. Already 30% HP here. So might have already dissuaded him. All this is happening. 369 is going to get an objective bounty on the top side, taking that top tier one.
Oh, man.
Honey Fruits are cheating, but it's okay. They still got the turret. You can still have 369 TP into this play. I'm looking for if there's any wards, any kind of flank that they can try to make. Doesn't seem like that's going to be very likely. It's going to be a defense of this turret. There's no waves to play for. AL are wasting, I think, a lot of time with the last 50 seconds of their Baron.
Oh, Tarzan decides it's time not to waste any of that, and we're going to get kills right off the bat. The Chaos Storm is brewing. Big quickness Creme entrance combo into a double kill for Shanks, who's picking up the slack now. TP's coming in. He stops it. The all-out stops the 369 TP, and chaos has ensued on bot lane. Your life is forfeit if you're a top esports player, and anyone's legend is going for the throat.
Flandre makes a play on the opposite side. His whole team makes the connect. They got teleports in. They're going to look to end the game. It's 15 seconds on Baron. I don't know if they'll have enough time. We're looking at these death respawn timers. Can they get enough damage down onto these turrets to end this first game?
It started off with 4 kills going to Tarzan, and it did not get any prettier for TES. The last Nexus tower falls. Now all focus onto the Nexus. Maybe the fight, though, as big ultimate from Creme. Anyone's Legend has decided we're not going for the win. We're going for the kills. Nexus finally falls. One more auto attack, and Anyone's Legend take a steaming 1-0 lead into this best of 5.
19-4. Damn! Let's go AL! Damn. I was not ready to see them knock out a punch. I was like, okay, our first game, maybe it's a little bit slow. We've seen AL be a team that doesn't necessarily have the best game ones. But all right, taking it to TES very early on into the series. Now we need to see if they can make the bounce back and if the changes they've made into the roster have really contributed to the level of consistency we expect from these teams.
And I thought it was going to be more of a kind of like a arm wrestling kind of matchup between Tarzan and Kanavi. But the thing about these two junglers, if they do get a lead or control like they do, it's impossible to play against in that case. And Tarzan really took that steam and ran with it. It was really nice to see. And to break that down a little bit, we're going to send it over to our analyst desk. Lara, take it away.